Okay, if you've been following any corporate news lately, you know the story. It's everywhere. AI is coming for jobs. And we're not just talking factory floors anymore. This is white-collar stuff. Marketing, finance, HR, customer support seems to be a big one. I mean, look at the examples we pulled from our sources. Amazon 14,000 corporate job cuts. And they directly mentioned, the accelerating impact of AI.
Right. And Salesforce, too, they made headlines saying they slashed, what, thousands of customer support roles, all supposedly thanks to deploying AI agents. It really paints this picture of technology just taking over.
It does, an irreversible wave. But that's exactly what we're digging into today. We're kind of pushing back on that narrative. Because the research we've gathered from places like Forrester, even Gartner, it suggests these cuts, they might actually backfire. Big time.
Yeah, leading to some serious employer regret down the line. It's fascinating because we're not just guessing here. There's data contrasting the, let's say, immediate panic with the longer-term picture. And the really surprising bit, mainly from Forrester's Predictions 2026 report, is this. They expect half of these big, public, AI-driven layoffs. Well, they expect them to be quietly walked back.
Half walked back.
Yeah, and get this, the workers brought back, often offshore or rehired, but at a lower salary.
Okay. Let's unpack that. So our mission for this deep dive is to really look into that reversal, to challenge this idea that it's all about tech progress and maybe explore, well, the suggestion that it's more of a financial move wearing an AI disguise.
Exactly. Forrester sets the stage, you see. They suggest many companies are rushing these cuts. They're acting based on what they hope AI will do, the expected automation down the road, not based on what the tools they have right now can actually replace today.
That feels like a huge disconnect. You've got leadership cutting staff based on tech that might be years away, but the actual work, that needs doing now. So you're cutting based on, like, hype, not actual replacement.
And that hype seems to be leading directly to some, well, awkward situations for management. We have a pretty stark number on this, defining just how big this backfire is. 55%. 55% of employers say they regret laying off workers because of AI.
Wow. Over half. So more than half the leadership teams who announced those cuts are now thinking, uh-oh, maybe we went too fast, undermining their own work.
It seems so. It suggests the reality on the ground didn't match the PowerPoint presentation.
But hang on, if over half regret it, why are we still seeing companies use AI as the reason for big layoffs right now? Are they just ignoring their own experiences? Or is the pressure, maybe from investors, to look cutting edge just too strong?
I think you've hit on a key tension there. It's that classic clash, isn't it? Short-term financial targets bumping up against long-term strategy. Look at the AI investment data itself. It's really telling. 57% of the people actually holding the purse strings for AI investments, they expect AI to increase headcount in the next year.
Increase, not decrease.
Right. Only 15% expect it to decrease headcount.
Okay, that's the gap right there. The people deep in AI strategy, the investors looking long-term, they see it needing more people for growth, for coordination. But the managers staring at next quarter's results, they see AI as a handy reason to cut costs immediately.
Precisely. And when the CEO announces layoffs and mentions AI, what happens? The stock market often reacts positively, right? Assuming automation means more profit.
Yeah, efficiency gains, lower overhead.
But then, if the layoff leads to operational problems, customer service failures, project delays, that's when the 55% regret starts to bite. And that regret has to be dealt with somehow.
Which brings us right back to that sort of cynical twist you mentioned, the quiet reversal. 50% of the cuts reversed, the work given back to humans.
And here's the crucial financial angle. The work often goes to human workers, yes, but cheaper ones, either rehired offshore or at a lower salary. That's the quote.
So wait, if the jobs are being filled by people again, that means the tech didn't actually do the job it was supposed to.
It strongly implies that, yes.
But the company is now paying less for essentially the same work output.
Mm-hmm.
So the initial layoff,
Mm-hmm.
it wasn't really about AI efficiency after all. It was more about cutting the wage bill, using AI as the public justification.
That's the interpretation the Forrester analysis points towards, a way to reduce operational costs, with AI providing the perfect, modern-sounding excuse.
It's like using a very sophisticated high-tech story to execute a pretty old-school, cost-cutting, maybe even wage-suppressing strategy.
Short-term financial gain, potentially.
Right.
But think about what you lose. Institutional knowledge, maybe morale, internal culture?
Yeah, absolutely. So if we connect this back, where are we seeing the biggest impact of this strategy right now? Which sectors are feeling this first?
Well, the analysis highlights internal functions getting hit hard, specifically HR, human resources.
HR. How so?
The prediction is quite stark, actually. Staffing in HR could potentially be cut by half. The idea is they'll rely much more heavily on AI for talent acquisition, workforce planning, things like that.
Cut by half. That's huge.
Hmm.
We're not just talking about automating payroll, are we?
No. Think about the human side of HR. Conflict resolution, career development, navigating complex compliance issues, succession planning. The expectation seems to be that the remaining HR team delivers the same level of service handling, onboarding, benefits, crises, but with half the people leaning on tools.
Tools that might not understand the nuances of, say, a sensitive employee issue or a complex local labor law. That sounds risky.
It does, and this connects directly to another concerning trend, the impact on entry-level roles, the very start of the career ladder.
The junior employees. What are the sources saying there?
It's particularly noticeable in tech, graduate hiring. It's reportedly crashed by 46%.
46% drop in graduate hiring. Wow.
The implication is that bots or AI tools are taking over those more process-driven, data entry type tasks, the kind of work recent grads often cut their teeth on.
So you cut off the pipeline at the source if junior work is automated away.
Exactly. Where do your experienced mid-level managers come from in 5 or 10 years? You're essentially eliminating the training ground.
That sounds like creating a future skills gap, a ticking time bomb for institutional knowledge.
It could very well be, and we're already seeing some signs of companies realizing they might have moved too fast, maybe gone too far. Think about Klarna or Duolingo. They made pretty bold public statements about aggressive AI integration.
Right, I remember that.
And then reports suggest they subsequently had to kind of revisit those strategies, maybe dial them back a bit.
And even with the big initial examples like Salesforce, there was nuance, wasn't there?
There was. When they announced those thousands of support job cuts attributed to AI, they quickly added a clarification, claiming they were redeploying staff elsewhere, not just firing everyone.
Redeploying. So acknowledging, perhaps indirectly, that the AI couldn't handle everything, that you still need humans for the complex stuff.
It certainly suggests it's not a clean swap. It points to a more complicated reality behind the headline number, a reshuffle designed perhaps to soften the blow or manage the transition because the tech isn't a full replacement.
Okay, so this brings us back to the regret factor, that 55% figure. If employers are regretting it, it implies the AI tools they implemented. Well, they must have failed somehow. Let's shift focus a bit to the technology itself. Was this backfire just about the cost and hassle of reversing layoffs, or did the AI tools fundamentally not perform as expected?
I think it's definitely both, but the technology's performance, or lack thereof, is really the root cause of the regret. One immediate issue highlighted is just quality control. Companies spending huge sums on systems that might not even work properly. The source material warns about organizations getting flooded with what it calls AI-washed product offerings.
AI-washed, meaning products just labeled AI without real substance.
Pretty much. And C-suite leaders are apparently struggling to tell the legit tech from vaporware. They're potentially sinking massive budgets into systems that just don't deliver the promised automation.
And this is crucial for you listening, because we're not just talking about software being a bit clunky. We're talking about failures in performing critical tasks, tasks that need judgment.
Exactly. To really grasp the failure, we need to talk about something called agentic AI. Have you heard that term?
Agentic AI. Sounds like AI acting as an agent, independently.
That's the idea. These are the more autonomous systems, the ones theoretically capable of replacing a human worker more fully. You give them a goal, and they're supposed to figure out the steps, make decisions, and execute them.
Okay, so not just processing data, but actually doing things autonomously.
Right. And here's where Gartner's research comes in. Remember, they're a rival firm to Forrester, offering another perspective. Gartner predicted that over 40% of these agentic AI projects, the very ones meant to take over jobs, would likely be canceled by the end of 2027.
Canceled. 40%, why?
Multiple reasons. Rising costs, sure.
Right.
But also, crucially, unclear business value. They just weren't proving their worth. And perhaps most worryingly, insufficient risk controls.
Insufficient risk controls.
Yeah.
That sounds pretty serious, especially if these AIs are handling sensitive stuff like an HR or customer service, dealing with personal data.
Absolutely terrifying. And we have a concrete, quite damning example of failure related specifically to customer service. The sources describe a benchmark test developed by academics, interestingly, led partly by a Salesforce AI researcher specifically for CRM, customer relationship management.
Okay, so if AI is supposed to revolutionize customer support, this CRM benchmark is the acid test.
Right, exactly. And the results, let's just say they weren't exactly a ringing endorsement. The LLM-based AI agents, the large language model agents, they performed well below par, even on simple stuff.
Oh, simple.
They only managed a 58% success rate on tasks that could be done in a single step.
Single step, like a really straightforward request.
Yeah, things that didn't need follow-up actions or complex reasoning or checking information across different systems, just basic one-shot tasks.
58% success on the easy stuff. That's
Yeah.
barely a passing grade. That means nearly half the time it fails even simple requests.
Precisely. That alone tells you you absolutely need humans ready to jump in and fix things 42% of the time, just for the simple queries.
Okay, that's bad enough operationally, but was there anything more critical?
Oh, yes. The failure point that really highlights the gap between the tech and human judgment, customer confidentiality.
Confidentiality, what happened?
The study found the LLM agents basically failed to understand the fundamental need for customer confidentiality.
Didn't get privacy.
Apparently not grasp it reliably, which,
Mm.
I mean, think about that. That's not just a minor bug. That's like the AI leaving sensitive client data completely exposed.
That's a massive failure. It shows these tools just don't grasp core professional ethics or even legal requirements like data privacy. You absolutely cannot automate a customer service role if the AI might leak confidential information and expose the company to huge fines or, total reputational ruin.
And that, right there, circles us back to why 55% of employers might regret these AI-driven layoffs. You have companies cutting staff based on the promise of tools that research suggests have a high chance of being canceled anyway. Tools that struggle with simple tasks and, critically, might fail spectacularly on core requirements like confidentiality. The backfire isn't a surprise. It seems almost baked into the cycle of adopting the tech before it's truly ready for high-stakes work.
Okay, so let's try and pull these threads together for you, the listener. What we're seeing is this potential cycle. First, there's this rush, maybe driven by hype or financial pressure, to cut staff, citing AI's promise. This often leads to significant operational problems, resulting in widespread regret, that 55% figure.
Then comes the correction. The operational failures force companies to reverse course, leading to up to half of those initial job cuts being quietly undone.
Right, the reversal. But often, the final twist is that the human workers brought back to do the jobs the AI couldn't handle. They might be rehired at lower wages, maybe offshore.
Mhm. The data really paints a picture where, for many employers right now, AI is functioning less as a true replacement technology and more as a, shall we say, convenient justification, a high-tech shield for what are essentially immediate financially motivated layoffs. Layoffs that then often need human intervention, more cost, more disruption to actually fix the problems created. The strategic long-term vision of AI boosting growth seems at odds with the short-term tactical use for cost cutting.
So it leaves us, and you, with a pretty challenging thought to consider. Given these high rates of employer regret, these documented technical failures, especially around critical areas like confidentiality, if companies themselves are struggling to tell legit tech from vaporware before they make irreversible cuts to their workforce, what responsibility falls on us? As consumers, as workers, should we be demanding more proof? Should companies have to show independent, verifiable evidence that their AI is actually competent and safe before using it as a reason to eliminate jobs?
It's a fundamental question of accountability in this transition, isn't it? Where does the burden of proof lie? That's something for all of us to think about.